Well, Hart is here now, and really early in the morning, this morning, I was looking at comments from some of his videos, the videos that he did for us with different varieties of Annonas. And I thought this could be great because, you know, he's, of course, has a lot of knowledge. There's always some clarification and stuff. And, you know, we have the best viewers ever, and a lot of them had some interesting things to share with us also. And so, yeah, just trying to, you know, like tap some knowledge and share, you know, everybody's knowledge that subscribes. So the first video was mountain soursop. And, you know, there was one guy who said, I've got to move my mountain soursop to a better place because I didn't realize it made such good rootstock. But another person said, if you eat miracle fruit first and then eat the mountain soursop cold, that it's really quite good. And then one modification that he mentioned was you mix carbonated water with the pulp and eat the miracle fruit first and drink. So I didn't know if you had ever heard of that, but it sounded like something to try anyway.
Yeah, it does sound good. Also, you can peel a mountain soursop and slice it and put it in Ziploc bags in the freezer for a week or so, and then take them out of the freezer and just half thaw them so that they're soft enough to chew, and eat as is without adding anything, and it's like sherbet except that you spit out seeds. Almost anyone likes almost any variety of soursop frozen.
Then a comment that wasn't specifically regarding the mountain soursop, but they wanted to have your recommendation on a good book on Annonas.
Growing Custard Apples, written in Australia. Australians call all Annonas custard apple, except soursop, I guess. So that book was written back in the 1980s and then revised later. So very nice book. Out of print, so you would have to look for available copies. There is a more recent book written in Australia that's meant for farmers. It's like a 3-ring notebook or something like that, with sections of the book with tabs, like filing system tabs. And at the time that was prepared, in 2002 or whatever it was, I forget the date, some 20 years ago, it had the latest information on planting and commercially growing atemoyas and sugar apples and cherry moyas, with brief mentions of some other Annonas. Australia has a lot of land where Annonas can be grown, and the government there has invested in Anona research for at least 40 years. So they're way ahead of Florida or California or whatever.
Okay, there's another question here on is there any effect on the development of the fruit because of the pollen that has you know, pollinated the flower?
Seeds and Anona fruits that are developing, while the seed coat is still thin, the seed tissue inside produces growth regulators, which we can call hormones, that exude out through the skin of the young seeds and affect the growth and characteristics of the pulp. So the pulp tends to be tastier if there are more seeds. One doesn't necessarily want a seedless Anona. It would be okay, but it won't be as tasty as a very seedy Anona. Now, when you bring in pollen of another species, that makes the actual seeds, you know, the growing tissue in the seed area, hybrid. It's half the other species and half of the mother tree that the seeds are growing in. And so the hormones produced and the quantities of them, the amounts produced will be different than if the seeds were purely from the mother tree or from the mother tree and a father tree of the same species as the mother. The difference can be extreme. For instance, I pollinated Ilama, which is Annona diversifolia, with pond apple, which is commonly, pond apple is what it's commonly called, and the botanical name is Annona glabra. The pollination worked as far as setting fruit, but those two species are too incompatible genetically to actually make a seed. So these fruits developed. They had what looked like seeds in them, but they were just seed coats, you know, the shells of seeds, and inside they were filled with liquid. No solid embryo or cotyledons or anything else, just liquid. Those fruits were not fit to eat. They were absolutely horrible. The fruits were larger. You could tell by looking at them that they were different. They were larger and the skin looked different, and the pulp inside was not fit as food. I used pond apple on several other species as well, including Atemoyas. The result was similar. The fruits were larger, the skin of the fruit looked different, and you could eat those fruit, but they were not very good. But the llama you could not eat.
Okay.
More mild differences occur when people pollinate their cherimoyas or sugar apple or atemoyas with various other pollens, or even when the bugs do it. You can see fruits in the same tree that look different from each other, to where if you took the fruit to somebody to identify, that person would be fooled or stumped, would not know what it was. And the only cause of that was the different source of pollen. The technical name for this is metaxenia. Metaxenia. Xenia means foreign, and meta means very. Very foreign. Now, notice that this is just a hormonal influence. The only hybrid is the seeds inside the seed coats, if the seed does grow there. When you don't have a seed growing there, you have the lack of those good hormones for proper development of the pulp. When you have a pollen that does allow for the formation of hybrid seeds, then the hormones are a different ratio, or even some different hormones altogether, probably, that are influencing the flavor, the aroma, the appearance, the texture of the pulp, and the appearance of the skin, and probably the size of the fruit and whether or not it has bumps on it. A tree with fruit that are normally bumpy may have smooth-skinned fruit when a different pollen is used. These fruits are not hybrid. You can't give them a name. You know, they're nothing new. They're still what the mother tree is, but hormonally influenced to appear and taste different. Only the seeds are hybridized, and when you plant those, then you have the first generation hybrids from the cross you did by hand pollinating with pollen from another tree.
Okay, well, great. Thanks very much. That covers the questions on the mountain soursop comments. So.